how we sit down to the table and who we're with is just as important. So, bringing our awareness to the food, bringing our awareness to our emotions is really important because that affects our digestion too.
It's like taking that moment of reflection. You know what I mean? It's like you can grab something from the pantry because it's fast and you just open up a bag and you can start eating. That's like the immediate response without taking that moment of reflection and then kind of looking back and saying, well, what's the best, what do I want to do in this situation? All right, welcome back, everyone. We are excited to be here with another video for our series of collaborating with health professionals. And today we are going to be here with Tara Cassidy, who is an integrative health and wellness coach with the business Cassidy Wellness Coaching. And I'm super excited to be here with her. Tara and I have known each other for a long time, and we have a great relationship as it relates to talking about health, talking about wellness. And today our topic is going to be what to do in the new year. How do you set your eating habits, your mindset as we get out of the holidays and we're moving through all of the craziness that was, and then moving into the new year. So Tara, thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited to chat about holiday or post-holiday eating plans with you.
Yeah, same. Thanks, Brian, for having me. This will be a lot of fun as we've had many conversations, walk and talk meetings, and we could go on forever. Hopefully
Definitely.
We'll keep it short.
Well, we'll have to, but I'm sure we will want to keep going. So anybody who is watching this now, please make sure that you like, share, comment on the YouTube video. It really helps us bring more content and great professionals like Tara to you. So here we go. All right, Tara. So we're going to be talking. We just come off the holiday season. We have all been eating our fair share of sugar, our fair share of alcohol, probably more meat than some of us are used to. Some people get stressed around the holidays. So let's talk about kind of January. Everybody talks about January as a New Year's resolution month. Let's bypass the whole picking one thing, and let's just talk about health in general. What's your philosophy on eating in January? What direction do you take your clients in? How do you kind of bring it back to an energetic, healthy lifestyle after the holidays are over?
Yeah, great question. So come January, everybody set their New Year's resolutions. The gyms are full. Everybody's really good 1st of January. Maybe you're hungover on the 1st and you don't want to touch alcohol again and all that fatty stuff. So I really focus on keeping it simple come January. Right? So it's cold weather month. You're wanting to eat more warm foods, just like simplify everything. Oatmeal for breakfast, something, maybe a warm grain bowl, with rice and a bunch of veggies, or maybe tofu or a lighter meat. And, for dinner, maybe having some fish or, I don't know, just keeping it simple. Lots of vegetables always. The vegetables really help clean us out. The what's, the how is also really important too. The what's, the veggies, proteins, and keep hydrated. The how is your mindset around how you're eating, right? So are you going into your meal stressed out and like high stress, like, oh God, I have to lose this weight by April or May or June or whatever? How we sit down to the table and who we're with is just as important. So bringing our awareness to the food, bringing our awareness to our emotions is really important because that affects our digestion too.
Yeah, so interesting. So a couple things that stand out for me. One is when you're talking about the what. So let's just start with the what, and then we'll go to the how.
Yeah.
So the what. It's an interesting concept. Like, it seems very basic, right? Keeping it simple, but it makes total sense that we've been cooking like crazy the whole month of at the end of November all the way through December, And now we're getting into January and people are like, I want to be healthy, but I'm so done with cooking. I'm just tired of spending three hours making meals for all these people. I just want to microwave something. And one of the ways that you can get around that is to kind of your point is to just pick your like very basic, to just kind of reset your taste buds also from all this rich food that you've gotten accustomed to, and just know that you may not be terribly satisfied for a couple of weeks. And what's the, what's the harm in that, right? So if you just had very simple foods, greens, high vegetable intake, can you start shifting your focus so that vegetables make up the biggest portion of whatever it is that you're eating, whether it's a grain bowl, whether it's a stir fry, whether it's meat, potatoes, and vegetable, what is taking up the most space on your plate? And if you can shift your mind, your thinking around this, because if you think about it, in December, we have very few vegetables, right? I mean, Thanksgiving is notorious for like a brown plate, right? So
potatoes are vegetables, Ryan.
Yeah, so I love this concept of just keeping it simple and saying like, okay, what vegetables you're eating. Are you eating them with every meal? What's your total vegetable intake? And literally just kind of focusing on simple foods. That's great.
Yeah. And to riff on that, Ryan, what I've shared with clients, and they're shocked by this, is batch cook. Plan in advance. I do my shopping maybe on a Saturday or Sunday, and I tend not to shop and cook on the same day. It's too much, so batch cook, plan a little bit in advance. You don't have to do the entire week, but like you're talking about those stir fries, you can get a red pepper, slice that up, put it in a container in the fridge, chop up your carrots, put that in the fridge, do some broccoli and cauliflower, chop that up, roast it. Roasting veggies is amazing. And then it's available for you. So if you want to do a stir fry, you can just toss it in the pan. You don't really have to think about it. You can do a big pot of rice. Brown rice is great. It's much better for you. If it's white rice, whatever, but I'd rather see people having brown rice or, healthier whole grains. And oatmeal, I actually have some in my slow cooker right now. And that's great, because then it's done. And if you want, you can put it in smaller containers, put it in the freezer, and you've got it there. And it's just, you can add what I call sprinkles on top of your oatmeal. So there's a little bit more interest, and you can change it every day if you're like me and get bored and don't want the same thing, but you have the same base at least.
Right. Yeah. And I love the, I'm a huge fan of batch cooking. We do it here, but you're also talking about batch prepping. So, that's also really interesting. So instead of maybe coming home, throwing your veggies in the fridge and then living to see how much water content comes into the inside of that plastic bag, what if you actually just came home, spent an extra 20 minutes, wash your vegetables, slice them up, put them into an airtight container, and then have them ready to go? You're going to be much more likely to cook something quickly on the fly if you need to, or to just eat that as a snack, as opposed to like chips or something else that's easy. If it's already cut and ready to go, then you can, so there's little tricks that will help you in January to kind of reclaim the way that you're eating, is what I'm hearing you say. It's like prepping, batch prepping, batch cooking. So on a Sunday, can you make 3 dishes and also, at the same time, and then package them, put them in the fridge, have them for the week. And this way you're not always thinking like, I have to do something else. Yeah.
Cause that's when that's when trouble happens, is you're like, I'm tired. I've been in front of the camera on Zoom all day, or I've been in the office, or, with the kid, whatever your busy day is. We all have really busy days. And when you're tired and, your brain energy is depleted, you really don't have the space to be cooking healthy. Your brain's not capable of it. So trying to do that in advance. And like you said, even if it's, vegetables pre-cut, we almost always have, a package of hummus. Sometimes I go crazy and make my own, but it's really easy to get good, healthy hummus, and, always reading labels for those things that you do purchase, reading the labels, making sure that you understand what you're putting in your body.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And the other thing, just to stay with this concept for one more minute, and then I want to go jump back to something you said about, the brain. But one other thing for those people that are watching this who have kids, and you're like, oh, I have to cook for the whole family, and my kids just want it, one thing that we have really encouraged people to do is involve your kids in this process. And I know it doesn't sound that easy, and you're like, oh yeah, you try, and everybody says like my kid's not going to help me. But if you made that part of their allowance, or you made that part of their chores, or you kind of encouraged that as, in that realm, however you do that in your family, and it can start very small. Maybe they're the one chopping those 3 red peppers, and you do the rest. And that's just how it starts. And you get 10 minutes, 10 minutes of help, but you're also doing it together. The thing after the holidays is you spend all this time together in the holidays, and then January hits, and it's like just back to normal routine. And so things that you can do to connect with your family as kind of a normal course of action, so you're not waiting for the holidays when you're all stressed out anyway to have family time, is really valuable. And when you can do it around a healthy activity, I think that's always really valuable.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that. My son is grown now, but when he was little, we would either watch the Cartoon Network together or the Cooking Channel.
Yeah.
And Emeril Lagasse was huge. And so we got his cookbook. We actually went to a book signing, had him sign a book for my son. And he had this like seasoning mix, it's like the BAM. So we always did that together, and he had great, simple recipes that the whole family could enjoy. And I think it's so important to start kids as young as, they're interested, and keep those tasks age appropriate, and teach them how to use a knife appropriately, because a dull knife is actually an unsafe knife. So kids need to learn how to do that easy. You don't feel comfortable doing that, they can help you make the hummus by pouring all the ingredients into your food processor and pushing the button. It's fun to see that transformation. So I'm so glad that you mentioned that. That should be year round.
Oh yeah, for sure. Love that. But January is a great time to start, because everyone's looking for a way to kind of like start anew, quote unquote, right, with the new year. And this is one thing that a lot of people don't do that we really, really encourage. So, all right, good. Awesome. So, and I want to get back to the thing that you said about your brain being too tired to cook healthy. So this kind of gets into 2 pieces, like mindset and also fatigue, like mental fatigue, and the effect it has on your just general decision-making process. So however you want to go with that, whether it's kind of into the fatigue side of it or into the mindset side of it, I'd love to just hear a little bit more about what you were, kind of where you would take people around that.
Yeah. Fatigue is huge, and it's such a part of our society, unfortunately. Like it's almost celebrated. Well, I only got 4 hours of sleep last night, because I was working so hard. And I think that's unfortunate, because that has detrimental effects, both short-term and long-term.
When you have that level of like mental fatigue, the choices that you make are not as healthy. Talk more about that, because that, what do you mean by that? What happens, and what have you seen with your clients and how do you help them kind of work through that?
When I work with my clients who are very busy professionals, and getting tired, it's teaching them, honestly, to take breaks throughout the day, particularly if you're in this world of being on the computer, whether it's Zoom or just looking at a computer page or spreadsheets. You get tired. You have to give your body a break. And it depends on you, but a maximum of 90 minutes, and then take at least a 5-minute break, for eye strain.
Yeah.
So
And how does that
That
affect
helps
the
a
cooking
little.
piece? How does that affect the decision making around the food? That's what I was kind
Yeah.
of curious about.
Yeah. So when you're that tired, your brain literally gets depleted. And it's much more challenging if your brain is tired, you're physically, emotionally tired. You just can't make those decisions. And because your brain is made up of a large percentage of water and fat. And if you're dehydrated and you haven't eaten, you're incapable of it. And so you go on kind of autopilot and just easy is what
Mhm.
your brain wants. Your brain is like, I want sugar.
Right.
Does it really? It wants fat, it wants water, it wants to be replenished. And so, but sugar's easy.
Right.
Microwaving something is easy. And so to eliminate that, we need to take frequent breaks. For some, they need to eat more frequently. I mean, everybody's different, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like taking that moment of reflection. You know what I mean? It's like you can grab something from the pantry because it's fast and you just open up a bag and you can start eating, or you can throw something in the microwave from the freezer and then 2 minutes later you can be eating. But that's kind of like the immediate response without taking that moment of reflection and then kind of looking back and saying, well, what's the best, what do I want to do in this situation? Right. It's like reaction versus proactive, being proactive. That little moment is what it sounds like you're saying is that little moment of not feeling so fatigued that you just have to eat right this second because you don't want to think about it, can be the difference between taking 5 minutes to chop up to cut those peppers and maybe throw them even on a frying pan
Yeah.
versus throwing something in the microwave.
Yeah. It's really being able to respond appropriately. And I focus on a lot of mindset and mindfulness work so that people learn to pause. And when they're like, oh, I'm going right to that bag of chips or to that candy bar or whatever that person's go-to is, it's like, why am I doing this? And if you take that second to reflect, you go, oh, I haven't gotten up from my computer in 4 hours. I haven't drank any water in those same 4 hours. And I have no snacks at my desk either in those same 4 hours. And I'm in this blue light that is also sucking some energy from me, without moving, without hydrating, without all of those. You're setting yourself up for failure. So let's set ourselves up for success and plan ahead. So if you drink enough water, you're forced to get up and go to the bathroom anyway, at least stretch your legs. So
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
yeah.
So one more question about mindset, because what most people's mindset is that and we all encourage this, is this kind of New Year's resolution thing, right? So you make the one claim that you're going to do this year that's going to be different than last year, and we all know that 80% of those go unfinished, and then we all feel like garbage because we didn't fulfill our New Year's resolution. So I imagine, just knowing you, that New Year's resolutions is not what you focus on in January. So how do you set up mindset with your clients, and what's different about that?
Yeah. So several years ago, I kind of nixed the New Year's resolutions because, when we think lifestyle, that's not like here and we set a goal and it's done. Lifestyle is a journey, it's not a destination. And so a resolution is a destination. And, that's really challenging. Like, we have to have small incremental steps to get where we want to go. That makes sense. But with a lifestyle, we're including that, but it's an intention that makes a lot more sense because there's more of a feeling tone to that. It's not like, I got to do this, I've got to lose 10 pounds, I got to look great in that bathing suit by, whatever time frame. The intentions make these really stick and long lasting, because I go to the gym because I want to feel healthy. I want to feel strong. And then, you set yourself up that way. And really, it's a change in mindset more than
Mm.
anything. Like I can go to the gym every day and I do feel better, but there's a difference between like, I got to go to the gym and lose 10 pounds and blah, 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 versus my intention is to get stronger and
Mm.
to be healthier as I grow older. Does that
Gotcha.
make sense?
Yeah, that's fantastic. So basically what you're saying is, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like what you're saying is that instead of the goal being to go to the gym 5 times a week, the goal is to get stronger, feel healthier, be more energetic. And then
Yeah.
this way you are coming back to a directionality around your health as opposed to a checkbox, right?
Yep.
Not that going to the gym isn't important. I mean,
Right.
working out is part of how we get there,
Yep.
but it stops becoming, it's more about, the outcome is more the feeling that you're getting from this versus just saying that you did it. And, and is that accurate?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I think of, people whose goals are huge, right? It's like, I have 100 pounds to lose. And it's also along the lines of, how does a healthy person behave? And who do I want to be as that person who's 100 pounds lighter?
Hmm.
And when you can really tap into that and continue to tap into that, then, I want to feel stronger. It makes going to the gym better and easier, and you can focus on like, man, when I leave the gym, I feel great. Even if it's like 20 minutes,
Yeah.
10 minutes, for people who are really struggling, you don't have to go to the gym. You can do a zillion other things that brings more joy and movement. You could go dance, take dance classes if that brings you joy and it's going to get you moving. And then from there, you but it's got to come from an intention and like, what's your why?
Yeah. I love this. I love it. I love it. So this is awesome. So I'm going to just kind of note some takeaways from the conversation, just because otherwise I'm going to keep chatting with you for the next 2 hours. So takeaways for New Year's, and kind of like January, getting back to your health, getting back to yourself, coming from the lens of Tara Cassidy, wellness coach, is number one, it is to make sure, and I'm doing this partially for myself, so I, make sure I, get everything that you're putting down here. So number one, make sure that you are keeping it really simple with the food that you're eating. So making sure that your focus is high vegetable, whole grains, something simple like oatmeal for breakfast, or something that you like, but is a healthy thing that you can just kind of go to without having to think too much about it. And then increasing your ability to batch prep and batch cook, right, is huge, because then you're getting healthy homemade food, but you're only really like doing it intensely once or twice a week at the most, right? And then you're just reheating stuff. So that was kind of the second big takeaway, that I got from what we were talking about. The third one was just this mindset piece is huge. So thinking about something as not as a resolution that you have to make sure you check every day, but instead, how do you want to feel this year? What's the direction that you want to take your life this year? And how do you want to, and then let the activities that are going to drive that become a little more fluid, because you're really focusing more on the state that you're trying to get to, on a day-to-day basis. Does that sound good?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Oh, that's awesome. Well, this has been awesome. Thank you for this. This has been a lot of great content, I think, for people to kind of sink their teeth into and get more involved with. So how do people find you if they want to chat more about health coaching or want to ask you questions based on what we talked about today?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Ryan. So I can be found through my website at Cassidy Wellness Coaching. And you can always email me at CassidyWellnessCoaching@gmail.com. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
Awesome. Fantastic. This is great. So remember, everybody that's watching, to do me the favor of liking this, comment on it, ask some questions. We can get into more of this if you're interested, and share this if you know anybody that is interested in a different way of thinking about your health in January. Thank you so much, Tara, for being here. Looking forward to doing this again sometime soon.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Ryan.
You got it. Bye, everybody.
Bye.